All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Shot Clock Scribbles. I got a special guest in the house today, and it's going to be a fun podcast. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Today is Friday, October 10th. I'm on the East Coast right now, so it's just about noon. My guest is in Vegas. That is none other than Mitchell Adams. He's going to be joining me in today. We got a lot of topics to cover. And yeah, hey, Mitchell, welcome to the show. Appreciate you jumping on, man.
Thank you for having me. Congratulations on making it to season 3 of Shot Clock Scribbles. This is an honor to be on, man, and I'm excited to discuss hoops with you.
Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. So as we're rocking right now, I am in Richmond, Virginia, and Mitchell is in Vegas. So this is a nice touch. The show is on the road, and yeah, really looking forward to cover to today's topic. So just a quick rundown. Today's show, we're gonna be touching over predictions for the 2025-2026 season. We got a couple different categories that we're gonna run through here, and then when we get done with that, we're gonna chat about a couple other topics that are circulating the league and things that we should watch out for, whether that's this season or implications of next season. So that's the agenda there. So first things first, we're going to predict who's going to win the MVP this upcoming season. So I'll let you take this one, Mitchell, then I'll go after you.
Sure, yeah. Well, as you know, being in Vegas, I had a chance to look up the odds, as I should have. And the person I have as my MVP, he's right now third in the odds. And I really like this player because this is going to be year 3 of seeing what this man could potentially do. And apparently he's put on 20 pounds of weight. So I'm going to give it to Mr. Wemby. I think
Okay.
this is the year the Spurs finally I think he's going to get him into 1 through 4 seed. Probably not number 1 because that belongs to Thunder Nuggets. But I
Yep.
can see with Wemby being bigger, him flying overseas,
Mhm.
spiritually connecting.
Yeah.
This dude's about to be on one. So I got Wemby as my MVP.
Yeah, solid. Solid pick. Solid pick. You can't go wrong with that. I feel like Wemby has the chance to win a lot of these categories that we're gonna run through today. So
Yeah,
that's a nice pick. That's a nice pick. Yeah, this one's a hard one. This one's a hard one because you can go a couple different ways, right? You can go SGA, you got Luca, you got Ant, you got the Joker, you got Giannis. A lot of these guys led the MVP race last year as well. So this one's tough. But for me, this upcoming season, I think the odds right now is the Joker is supposed to win it
correct.
this upcoming season. So that's the pick. But you know what? I'm gonna do a U-turn on that, and I'm a pick the guy that I predicted last year to win it. That's SGA. I think he's gonna go back to back MVP this upcoming. In this upcoming season. I know everybody's gonna be after the Thunder, especially after last season. Anytime you get beat, everybody's on your neck. So
For
that's what I gotta
sure.
go with.
And
Hmm.
these are still youngins, man. This Thunder team, like, you think all these veterans are now looking at this team like chopped liver. We got to bring our A game every night with this team.
Hmm.
That's a
Hmm.
great choice. I don't think voter fatigue with SGA is going to be a thing, especially if he leads the league in points per game again. Jokic, to your point, I still think there's voter fatigue considering how many
Hmm.
MVPs he's already got and still
Yeah.
only one chip. So unfortunately, I think that's what's going to plague Jokic no matter how good this Nuggets team is doing. So
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
great
that's
pick.
a good point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that's a good valid point right there. Uh, no, makes sense. All right, cool. Well, hey, let's move on to the next topic. And that's defensive player of the year. Last season we saw Victor Wembanyama get this award. And wait, oh, you know what? I'll probably cut that part out. Was it Wemby that won it last year, right? And then,
I
oh,
I
was it
don't
Mobley?
I think it was Mobley because Wemby got hurt and
Yeah,
he didn't meet the
yeah,
criteria.
that's right.
It
That's
was
right.
Mobley.
It
It
was.
was yeah,
Yep, 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 yep. No, you're right. You're right. Okay, cool. All right. The next category. All right. So the next category that we have here is Defensive Player of the Year. Last season, Wemby ended up getting hurt with that blood clot, I believe it was, and he didn't play after like January or February. I think it was right after the All-Star break when he participated in that
3 games with
competition.
Fox. That's all they
Three
played
games,
together.
3 games, 3 games. Wow, yeah, that's crazy. So Mobley out in Cleveland ended up winning the award last year. But Mitchell, who do you have to win this award?
Okay, but before I give you my answer, I want to ask you, Can you name there's only been 3 players in NBA history who have won the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year the same season. And maybe I just gave away my answer with that. But with me predicting Wemby as MVP,
Hmm.
who do you can you name one of the 3 players in NBA history that's also got the Defensive Player of the Year same year as MVP?
Sounds tough. Maybe Shaq. Is Shaq in there?
No, but there is a center from the 90s.
Okay.
2 90s players and then 1 player that is playing right now. 2 big men and
Yeah.
1 guard.
Yeah, man, you're stomping me on this one.
Sure. Well, I got Wemby as my defensive player of the year,
Okay.
assuming he's going to stay healthy. Blood clot's
Yeah.
good. He wins the MVP. He would join Michael Jordan, Hakeem
Mm,
Olajuwon, and Giannis as the only players in NBA history to win the MVP and defensive player of the year in the same
damn.
season.
Damn, that's elite company right there.
And I know that's kind of bold, especially because this is only his 3rd year. But Giannis won
Yeah.
his MVP and his defensive player like years ago. So I can
Yeah.
see this happening with Wemby too.
No, I definitely see that. I definitely see that. Yeah, you definitely stopped me on that. This one's very tough because last year, um, we had seen even Dyson Daniels at guard being up for the award. I
Well
believe he won
deserved.
it the year before that. I think he won it as well. So you got Chet over at OKC last season was great for them, especially towards the very end. Of course, he was hurt for a good little chunk of the season last year. But got AD out in Dallas, one of the best rim protectors that we got in the NBA right now. But for me, I'm picking Wemby to win this one as well. So I'm right on par with what you're saying here, Mitchell. Other picks, I mean, Evan Mobley, when I'm looking at the odds here, I got Draymond Green on the list too. Amen Thompson is on the list as well. Yeah, if Wemby can stay healthy, I don't see a problem with him winning this award at all.
That team has the potential to be so dangerous if everybody
Hmm.
just stays healthy. That includes Fox's Hand, the rookie they just drafted. The
Yeah,
Spurs really have a chance to make some noise if everything just gels together.
yeah,
Wemby, I think he grew some more
he
over the
did.
offseason. That's what the rumors have been. So he's
Yep.
just going to be even more of a force in the paint to where
Hmm.
he's just this long dude to where
Hmm.
it's like guards from the 3 are gonna have to think twice. It's yeah,
Oh
he's
yeah.
gonna win if he stays healthy. And then Chet
Oh yeah.
is 2nd in the odds for defensive player of the year right now.
That's right. That's right. Yep. Yep. Nicely done. All right. Well, let's move on to the next category here. We got NBA Rookie of the Year. Got a couple different choices for this one. We'll kind of switch it up a little bit. I'll go first, and then I'll throw it back to you, Mitchell. Here, as we look at the odds and who's on that list, we got Cooper Flag, highest pick that the Mavericks have gotten in quite a while here. VJ Edgecombe out in Philly, Trey Johnson with the Wizards, Glenn Harper with the Spurs. He's going to be getting some minutes, especially with probably D Fox maybe missing a good early part of the season. Ace Bailey out in Utah, Jeremiah Fears with the Pelicans. For me, man, I actually want VJ Edgecombe to actually win this award. I just love his game. I talked about it in my last pod, how he has the opportunity to get some minutes there in Philly. He has the assets to be a really good NBA player. And at the end of the day, Cooper Flag, I mean, we haven't seen anything like him in quite a while, maybe before Zion. This kind of talent, I think he's going to win it. So that's my pick.
Yeah.
I'll let you do your pick next here, but yeah, what are your
Uh,
thoughts?
That's a great pick, and I knew you were gonna pick him just because I listened to your first episode and you were very high on him, as you should be. Especially with the unpredictability of the 76ers team. We could probably do a whole episode of discussion of breaking down the complexity of the Philadelphia 76ers and their potential of they could win more than 55 games this year, or they could actually only win 30 something games this year. Like that's just how wide this team is. And their success, I mean, not to say you can't rely on Embiid anymore, but
Yeah.
they need these young guys to step up. And them getting a player like VJ, and if they're succeeding, I can definitely see him winning Rookie of the Year. He is 3rd right now in the odds,
Hmm.
so great choice.
Hmm.
I chose the number 1 odds favorite, the dude who somehow the Mavericks got lucky and got the first pick
Hmm.
with Cooper Flag. A big
Hmm.
reason for that is because we're going to see him start playing point guard because of Kyrie's absence in the beginning of the year. If Mavericks are staying afloat, good. He's getting those numbers. That's great. once Kyrie comes back, Cooper's going to adjust to a whole different position too.
Hmm.
And then he might play the point next to Kyrie, and Kyrie, because he's so good, can be the shooting guard complementary, just like how he was when LeBron was running point on Cleveland. Just because Cooper will have the flexibility of playing more positions as he should be the odds favorite, he will get that rookie of the year if he's able to stay healthy.
Very good points. Very good points, Mitchell. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Dallas this upcoming season, especially with also Kyrie being hurt,
Yeah.
just start the year off. You got a lot of people that are hurt right now, man. A lot of guards, right? I mean, we're gonna talk about it later as we go, but Tyrese, Lillard, Tatum, which is crazy. Like
Yeah.
he's 5 months out. Did you see that video of him jumping? And like dunking on the hoop at just 5 months after he just tore his Achilles.
Do not count out the Celtics this year. That would be foolish for any of us to just be like, "Oh, Tatum's gone." But he's gonna come back earlier than expected because the
Mhm.
East is so weak. Like you said, we'll get into that a little more later.
For sure, for sure. As we kind of wind down this rookie of the year talk before we get into the next one too, I definitely want to show some love to Cedric Coward with the Washington Wizards. So Cedric Coward is actually from the Valley here, 6'6", shooting guard. And hey, man, with the Washington Wizards, they haven't been very good for quite a while. Me and Mitchell were joking about it beforehand. I definitely want to just show some love to Cedric. As you know, I've been having a show in the past with Mark Haynes, who's also from Fresno too. So
Mhm.
he is very familiar with Cedric.
The Valley boys deserve love, man, always.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got most improved player. This one, Mitchell, feel free to go first.
Sure. I have Amon Thompson winning most improved player. A big reason for that is because with the injury of Van Fleet, he is now officially going to have to step up even more than what we were expecting him to step up. And he's going to get defensive player of the year notoriety this year too.
Mhm.
There were minutes last year where it was like, this guy arguably is the best player on the court right now, regardless of who was on the other team or who was on the Rockets. Rockets will be a top 3 team in the West. Amon Thompson will fulfill that role that Van Fleet, points wise, is missing. I see him winning most improved player of the year for Houston.
Solid pick right there. Them H Town boys, they're about to make some noise
The
again this season.
Thompson twins, both of them, man, they're so good.
Yes, they are. No, those guys are good. Houston with that injury, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Speaking about my pick here, I mean, that's who I have on the list as well. Most improved player, I'm in Thompson as well. So me and you are right on par again with this one because exactly what you said. To kind of just break that down in a nutshell, there's gonna be different opportunities for him to play different positions. He's gonna be handling the ball a lot more this upcoming season, especially with Fred
Yeah.
being hurt. The ball's gonna be in his hands a lot. He's gonna have to adjust playing with Kevin Durant. I mean, he doesn't really need the ball, but he's gonna be shooting the rock a good amount of times. Putting up 20 shots, 25 any given night as well. But Ahmed can also distribute. That's the good thing about what the value that he brings is he can do a little bit of everything: block
Yeah.
shot, rebound, get his teammates involved.
And
Yeah,
Houston's so big. Like they got they
yeah,
got tall guys. So and Amon loves to crash those boards. Like he is a freak of nature everywhere. Maybe with adjusting with the Van Fleet, we'll probably see his assist numbers go up. A lot of that has to do with KD because that's such a luxury to have a 7 foot tall shooter like KD. Like, hey, I'm being double teamed. Let me just throw the rock to KD. Boom.
yeah.
And like, so I think we're going to see Thompson's assist points numbers go up and then defensive player of the year category. It's not shocking that we have the same defensive player of the year because Wemby is a great choice, but I'm very impressed we both have him on Thompson and that makes me feel good about that pick.
I feel like it's basically just pointing in that direction. Especially with what they're being dealt right now. It just kind of makes sense. If he can develop his shot more consistent. I mean, this guy's still hella young, early 20s, 22, 23 years old, something like that. He's got a long way to go. All right, let's move on to the next topic here. We have six man of the year here, Mitchell. I'll let you run through yours first, and then I'll go after
Sure.
you.
I do not have Nas Reed winning it back to back. He is the odds favorite, and that's why I say that, which I find really interesting.
Hmm.
It's not It's because I think Nas Reed is gonna have more of a role with the T-Wolves in a different way as to like, he's gonna play more starter minutes. I wish I could put Malik Monk, but again, we'll save that Kings topic for I don't know what's gonna happen there. Sixth man of the year, I got Jordan Clarkson for the New York Knicks.
Oh, wow.
I think him moving on from Utah to going to New York, he's going to be backup point guard to Jalen Brunson. I think every time he plays, it's going to be significant. He's going to get his shots up. He's going to be the best shooter coming off the bench for the Knicks. I think he's going to wreak havoc getting those points, and he's going to be a great breath of fresh air for Jalen Brunson to get rest. We've seen Mike Brown magic with six men with Malik Monk before. Jordan Clarkson, he's going to find a way to utilize him off the bench, and he'll get that. He's actually third in the odds, which is
Hmm.
crazy. I got Mr. Clarkson. Who do you got?
Interesting. I definitely didn't see that one coming. I was just watching a preseason game. I think the first two, he threw up an air ball from three, and they put the cameras on the bench, and they was just kind of putting their head down.
It's preseason. Get the bad shots out now, you know?
As far as like this category here, a couple of different picks that we have at our disposal. Nas Reed, you just mentioned it, won it last year. DeAndre Hunter got traded last season to the Cavs. The Cavs obviously didn't do too much in the playoffs, got bounced out pretty early after having a remarkable season. I think everybody was pretty disappointed in that. Bradley Beal going to LA now. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that dynamic happens. Ty Jerome going to the Grizzlies. TJ McConnell is also on the list. Peyton Pritchard won it last year. I think with this year, he's most likely going to be in the starting lineup, depending on, you know, if they use Simmons, who just got traded from the Blazers there. Yeah, man. And then Jared McCain too. He's hurt to start the year off. For me, DeAndre Hunter right now being number one odds, and honestly, I'll take him as well. The Cavs are gonna have another great season. They're gonna have to capitalize in the playoffs though. But
And I think last year, because him, Mr. Hunter, and Ty Jerome were both like in the top five of finishing as six man of the year. Now it's just Hunter, to your point.
Mhm,
He has the free will to shoot as many points. He's a great defender.
mhm,
Really, I really love that the Cavs traded for him. He's a
yeah.
significant piece off the bench this year, just as much as it is about the Cavaliers. It rides on Donovan Mitchell, never been successful in the playoffs. That's kind of an
Mhm,
important year for him to be like, let's change this narrative because
mm,
point, it was a very disappointing end for the Cavaliers last
yeah.
season. But Hunter's a great choice.
All right, cool. We're gonna move on to the next category here, Mitchell. Next category is points per game leader. This is the next one. So basically, who we think is gonna get the most points per game. Last year, we saw SGA win that. I'll just say my pick quickly here. Then I'll just run it to you here, Mitchell. But I have SGA going back to back as far as leading the league in scoring the rock. I'll pass it on to you.
Yeah, it's either one or two. And I didn't want to pick SGA just because I wanted to be different with this answer, but I put Luca down.
Okay.
I think both SGA and Luca are going to average over 30 points per game.
Hmm.
And I think Luca is just barely going to edge him out. It's going to be
Yeah.
so close, though. We're going to see a down to uh, the last couple games, I think, as we see the
Hmm.
point differential go back and forth. I don't think there's going to be a wide margin, but if it's not Luca SGA, I think it's going to be SGA Luca.
That's a pretty good prediction right there. I like that one.
Giannis will probably be in that area too, but I I think the guards are just going to score a little more because they shoot more threes than Giannis. I think that's just going to give him a little more of an edge.
You're right. As far as like the big man, he puts a lot of wear and tear on his body, and then getting to the cup too, and having to make some free throws. Always want to see Giannis's percentage at the free throw line grow as time goes on. He's not the greatest of free throw shooters.
Right.
The Joker too, in the big man who also could win it as well. That guy is just triple double machine.
Yeah.
Night in and night out, it seems like. But no, that's a solid pick there, Mitchell. We got three more categories, and then we'll cover some other topics here. All right. Next one is who we think is going to be the league's leader in assists per game. Last season, we saw Trey Young be at the top of that list, the Joker in there as well. Who do you have to win this one?
The Joker. He top 3 in assists last year, and he didn't have any shooters. Like, that's the bizarre thing about how Jokic was in that top 3, and he had nobody to shoot the rock, really. And this year, they have finally were like, okay, we got to surround this guy while we can in his prime.
Yep.
Because what are we doing? So they got him shooters, they got him a bench, they got him support. So I think Jokic, and just because of his basketball IQ, nobody can stop his passes because this dude is big court differently than everybody else. He's a machine out there. I got Mr. Jokic getting the most assists, edging out Trey Young because I think he will be back up there as well for the Hawks.
That's a good pick. You can never go wrong with picking the Joker in any of these categories.
No, it's unfair. You could go Jokic all 3, and it's like, all right, good. I got no counter argument.
Exactly, exactly. Yep, you pretty much nailed it. For my pick as well, I got the Joker. Um, in conjunction to
Nice.
what you were saying, he gets his teammates involved. He does a little bit of everything. We just talked about it. Assists, odd points, blocking shots here and there as well. So that's who I have to win this one. All right, we're gonna now move on to rebounds per game leader. We'll run into the last two categories, then we'll move on. So who do you have to win this one? Here, Mitchell.
The man that averaged 13.9 rebounds last year, I got him winning it again, Mr. Sabonis himself.
Hmm.
And because there's nobody on the Kings who can rebound except for him. And he's such a hustler. He's not a true center, and he still gets these rebounds because he knows where to be in the right time of the rebound. He goes up, and again, nobody else on the Kings can get rebounds. Sabonis, I mean, his numbers last year, 13.9 is an incredible amount to average. I
Hmm.
can see him still remaining in that hemisphere of 13 rebounds. So I got Domantas Sabonis, Mr. Sacramento King himself.
All right, showing love to the
Bias, baby.
916. Showing love to the 916. No, that's what's up.
Absolutely.
That's what's up. Love that. Love that pick. Last season, Bonus led the league in that category, almost 14 boards per game. You had Carl Anthony Towns in New York with 12.8, the Joker 12.7, Zoo with the Clips 12.6, Walker Kessler, Giannis, Rudy, Jalen Duran. For me, it was between the Joker and Carl Anthony Towns. Either way, can't really go wrong. For this category, I have to pick Carl Anthony Towns with the Knicks. That guy picks up a lot of boards every night. It'll be interesting to see how those guys do with former coach Mike Brown. And speaking about the Sacramento Kings as well, it's going to be his first season back after getting canned with the Sacramento Kings last season. That just was a debacle, which we're about to get into in a little bit. But
A
that's
debacle is a nice way to put it.
yes, yes.
My one pushback on Carl Anthony Towns, do you think the addition, because this will now be a full healthy season for Mitchell Robinson, do you
Hmm.
think that may take away some of the rebounds? Or because even when we saw Mitchell last year, that didn't necessarily take away from Cat. But now that they're starting the season together, do you think potentially Mitchell Robinson, or are they just going to be twin towers that both average 11 rebounds a game? Because that could be, or more
Yeah.
than that, because that could definitely be the case.
Um, yeah, Mitchell Robinson for me, man. I like him as a basketball player, and he's got a lot of heart. But something to do with just biologically, and just the recent history of just injuries. I just don't trust him
Hmm.
100% to really play a 82 game season. Definitely capable of doing it, but
Yeah, he's had multiple.
so I just don't trust it. So yeah, no, that's a good pushback. But for me, I just don't see him playing in even maybe like half of the games. I probably see him playing like 30 or less games. I'm being pessimistic about this one, but that's just kind of how I've seen it and just what history repeats.
Hey, you're reading the tea leaves there. I just
Mhm.
Carl Anthony Towns. I'm surprised because of how much he shoots the ball on the perimeter. He was getting those rebounds because he got rebounds in Minnesota, but
Mhm.
I think last year that was a career high for him. I can see Carl Anthony Towns. I mean, we saw how both trades worked out for both teams. They both ended up in the conference finals. It worked out for both, a rare trade that works out for both teams.
Exactly, exactly. Win-win situation. I mean, that doesn't happen too often in the league. So yeah, no, good point, Mitchell. All right, last category. Then we'll wrap this topic up. We have Coach of the Year. I'll go ahead and go first here. I got Jamal Mosley with the Orlando Magic winning this one. In the reasons of being, if their main players can stay healthy, Paulo Banchero and Franz, Bain as well. I'm looking forward for them to doing a little bit better than they did last year. Their two main players hurt with the same injury. It was just really difficult for those guys.
Paulo was injured at a different time. Wagner was injured at a different time. Like they
Yeah.
just had a bad luck string of
Yep.
injuries.
They did.
Caldwell Pope forgot how to shoot threes, and that didn't help anything.
No, no,
I love your
exactly.
pick though. Magic are gonna be the East Coast team I root for this year. They're a fun team, and
Yeah.
Paulo, if they make some noise, you could see Paulo potentially win that MVP. He's that good.
He's that good for sure. And I love his game. Last season, the Magic blew the Kings up off the floor. I went to the game and
Yeah.
Franz Wagner had a 30 piece that night and he was all smiles. And the player that I was thinking about earlier was Jalen Suggs, who's an instrumental
Suggs.
part of their roster. Yep, yep. They just gave him a contract extension and they signed a new deal last year.
Well
But he wasn't able
deserved.
to. Yep, yep, 100%, 100%. That's who I have. Who do you have to win this one, Mitchell?
Yeah, and Mosley's again, great point. If he can find a way to gel that Orlando Magic team and they could be a top 4 seed, I can definitely see that happening. My pick is I'm going to the West because the Western Conference is a tougher of the two conferences. So I
Okay.
think Ime Udoka is going to win Coach of the Year, and the Van Fleet adjustment that team will make, like he's going to coach his ass off to fix. Amon Thompson, raise the bar on that. We'll see him if my prediction holds true. Most improved player. That's going to reflect a lot on Udoka.
Yep.
Finding out how to Kevin Durant, utilize him how like a free safety shooter, essentially. Just do whatever. We'll get you the ball, you shoot it. Rockets finishing in the top 4 in the tough Western Conference. I don't see why Udoka would not win this award.
That's a good pick as well. A lot of these
Mosley
players.
is number 1 in the odds. Udoka 2.
Yep. Gotcha. Gotcha. Back to back. It's gonna be a tight race there. You went to the West Coast. Yeah, and as an NBA coach, this is what you like. You want skilled players. When you talked about it earlier too, with the Houston Rockets, their starting lineup. You don't have anybody that's going to be shorter than 6'7". They're all long and athletic, and they're going to be playing a lot of defense and hustling on that side of the floor, turning that into offense. And it's going to be really scary because they're going to be running and gunning, man. Because a lot of these players are young. AP, Şengün, they just added Dorian Finney-Smith from the Lakers. The Lakers, I don't know why they made that happen. Not a fan of that.
For Jake
But
LaRavia, baby.
yeah, yeah. I know, right? All right, awesome. Well, hey, this concludes this part of the section of the pod, and then now we're gonna move on to the next section here. Okay. If you've been listening so far, appreciate you tuning in to the pod here. We got the second section of the pod where Mitch and I are going to be discussing a couple different topics all over the league. First topic that we want to talk about right now is Giannis. There's been a lot of news, especially in the past week, that apparently the Knicks didn't have that great an offer for the Bucks, but it is being rumored that that could be a potential landing spot. I'll kick it to you, Mitch. What are your thoughts about what's been going on with Giannis? He missed the first day. I think he was going through COVID protocol, and so he did it remotely. Probably what the organization wasn't hoping for. They want other players there in person. But yeah, what are your thoughts here, Mitch?
Yeah. Yeah. And then over Zoom, a little bit of stars not aligning or conversations that apparently the Bucks owner had with Giannis. And Giannis was like,
Right.
we never had that conversation. And it was okay. There's already a little bit of where there's smoke, there's fire. There's been years now of this rumor of whether it's the NBA media landscape, NBA fans of pushing this agenda, push Giannis out of Milwaukee because he's not winning chips there. They had that squad with Holiday and Middleton. Giannis is kind of like making a decision maker in the background, being like, okay, yeah, let's trade, let's get Dame, let's do this, that.
Mhm.
And it hasn't worked out. the smoke just turned into kind of more of a fire with
Yeah.
this news this week of, well, if Giannis said that if he were to go want to go anywhere, it'd be the Knicks, and there was apparently some discussion of a trade possibility,
Mhm.
and the season hasn't even started, and this conversation is happening in the first week of October instead of July or June, the off season. It's just kind of like, what the hell is going on here in Milwaukee? Are you happy, dude? You say the right things, great. Or can you just be completely honest and say, yo, get me out of here? Like, what is happening? For the Knicks side of it, just real quick, I don't think it makes sense for them because of the core they have now and the chemistry. He's elite. He's a top 5 NBA player. I think the Knicks are better off with what they have now and not. They've already kind of sold their future with Mikal Bridges too. They don't really have the pieces or the risk. I think
Mhm.
this Giannis situation is something to because now no choice. We got to monitor it. They've
100%.
left us no choice. And wherever, if he does get traded, that's going to be a team. Yeah, it could be a team we're not even considering. Could be a team in the bottom six, below the sixth seed in the East or the West. But I'm going to be on Giannis watch all season long. What are your thoughts on the situation at hand?
Yeah, I appreciate you breaking that down. Yeah, I think there's a lot of rift right now with the organization and Giannis, and it'll be interesting to see what his agent does for him. I definitely don't think he's gonna be trying to make too much noise, but he's always gonna be very professional.
Yeah.
Uh, but at the end of the day, man, this might turn into a real rocky divorce. I mean, we just saw the whole Jonathan Kaminga things going down in the background. Uh, and there's a couple of different teams that could get a landing for him as well. You were going to add,
Right. And it sucks because Milwaukee have already leveraged their entire draft future for trades that they already made. So if you're going to trade Giannis, you need to be getting a bunch of picks back that's going to help salvage your future if you don't have a top five, top three, however you want to rank Giannis. He's up
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Generational player like him. The East is so weak this year. Why would you trade him? You have a chance signing Miles Turner. That's a great complementary player to Giannis in the paint.
mhm,
Turner has a 3-point shooting threat, but it doesn't make sense to me for Milwaukee to trade him, no matter how unhappy he is, no matter. I mean, if it turns into a complete nightmare, then maybe it's worth discussing. But as long as you have Giannis in your lineup, you're gonna be a top six player in the East. So it doesn't make sense to me.
wrapping up this part of the conversation with the Giannis saga, I think it was something really odd that the Bucks did this past season, especially with Dame's injury, letting him go, still paying him.
Yeah.
Obviously, to bring in Miles Turner, you just talked about it there too. I just think the organization is just not handling this in the right way. They got rid of Middleton. I believe he's out here in DC now. Um, him, Giannis, and Drew were always the vocal point of that team, and it's just
Yeah.
changed. There's a couple different landing spots right now. The Warriors are the number one spot uh, to to land him as well. I
Oh
guess
God. No.
the odds that I'm looking at, I know we keep talking about New York being pretty high odds. They are. The list I'm looking at here, they're second. But one trade that these guys can do is Giannis goes to the Bay, right, Mitch? And then
Yeah.
Milwaukee will get Trace Jackson Davis, JK, that's Kaminga, Brendan Podemski, and 2 first-round picks. That's a lot of haul. We all know that with a big player like Giannis, superstar in the league, right? Generational talent. Like you're gonna have to throw a lot of stuff, picks and players just to land a superstar like him.
Yeah, I that's a nightmare scenario as a Sacramento Kings fan. I cannot express how much I want Giannis to go to the Bay Area. Regardless of the Warriors getting rid of those important role players, that
Mhm.
means 4 out of your 5 starters are Curry, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, and Giannis. And you know what? That's not fair. They'll be eligible to sign Giannis, so he'll stay on the Warriors. That's just another however many years of the Bay Area team just
Yeah.
being the kings of California because that's what they are.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. Yeah.
want
I totally get that. Their options. And then we'll wrap this part down. Spurs is another team that's on the radar. The Miami Heat. The Atlanta
Yeah.
Hawks, they're building something special out there. I really like the Atlanta Hawks and what they're doing. I don't know how far they'll go this upcoming season. The health of Porzingis is always going to be at the forefront.
I
Um,
like the Trey and Giannis duo
yeah,
idea. I think
yeah,
that would work phenomenally.
yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, well, perfect. We're gonna now move on to the next conversation, and that's none other talking about the Sacramento Kings. Last year was a shitstorm, if we're just keeping it a buck. And what'll happen, what we had the Kings do last season in December. They fired Mike Brown. Darren Fox ended up dipping out. They got Zach Levine. Later in the season two, they got Jake LaRavia. And then another player in JV who I actually wanted the Kings to keep. You always thought
Same.
this, but it is what it is. There's a lot of noise around the Sacramento Kings. What are your thoughts right now about the Kings here, Mitch? Last season got dogged out by the Mavs in that playing game, and that's the way that the season ended for them. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what's going on right there.
Yeah.
G1 Center.
Yeah, Mavericks kick our ass and then they get the first pick. Give me a break. Like, I'm still mad about that. I don't get the Dallas Maverick luck or whatever, but clearly I'm still bitter about that. And that's all right. This I've experienced a lot of heartbreak seasons as a Sacramento Kings fan. Last year was probably number one, just because of not only the expectations of the team and how we started off with the beam team of Brown and Fox, and our guys are all there. And then the tumultuous decision making because of an incompetent, emotional owner that led to our franchise point guard. We trade him to the Spurs. We don't get what we should have gotten back for Fox. And then we get Zach Levine, Bulls 2.0 with DeMar DeRozan. And none of it makes sense. It's still something I haven't processed, and I've done the best I can to look at the positives for this upcoming season. So I'm going to give you that. I
Yeah.
love head coach Doug Christie because
MVP. Yep.
he is the embodiment of that community. He knows the Sacramento, how much this team means to that city. And as you and I used to live in Sac, you live in there. The
Mhm.
importance of Doug Christie. He's going to take this job as serious as anybody, more serious than anybody other coach. So
Yeah.
I love that. I love that this team is made up of underdogs, not including their coach, Doug Christie, but
Mhm.
Schroeder. We know his story, turning down the big contract to then kind of being like, dude, you fumbled the bag, to having his
Yeah.
work his way back to earning what the Kings paid him, overpaid him, whatever. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Levine was on the trade block for the last 3 years. He's got a chip on his shoulder. DeRozan, Mr. Mid-range, Mr.
Agreed.
Underappreciated. Sabonis,
Agreed.
underappreciated. Monk. Like, I love that this team is full of underappreciated underdogs.
Yeah.
And for that, that gets me excited. However, this team is small.
Yeah.
Team Keegan Murray is not a power forward. Why is he still playing the power forward position? Sabonis is not a center, or we need somebody at power forward that's just as tall as him. We don't have that. Levine and DeRozan are skinny guys. Schroeder is short, man.
Yeah.
This starting five, I love Clifford. He's going to be a sleeper. I have him finishing in the first top 5 rookie of the year candidate. And if this team does not do it's not meeting expectations, though, I can see blowing it up and starting from scratch. And honestly, I think that's a safer bet, sadly, than this team making the playoffs this year.
You broke that down pretty nicely there for us, Mitch. I just shared my screen. If you're listening to this and you can't see, what I'm showing here, we have it on video here. But we have the Kings depth chart and what that is looking like to start the season off. Dennis at the point, Zach at the 2, DeMar at the 3, Keegan at the 4. Mitch was just talking about that. Domas as a center. What you're talking about there, you don't think that Keegan should be a 4. I honestly think that he's better at the 3 position myself. If we look at this rotation, Zach and DeMar kind of have similar assets, right? Zach is a prolific 3-point shooter and he's been good. I didn't watch their first preseason game of the year. I still want to look at the highlights against the Raptors. From what the reaction has been from Kings fans is last season the Kings didn't win a single preseason game, and people kept saying, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's preseason." But the season didn't end up very well for the Kings, finishing ninth. and got in that playing game against the Mavs. As far as the roster construction, this upcoming season, they just brought in Nick Clifford from Colorado. You have Devin Carter, who's going to be in his sophomore season. A lot of expectations from fans in Sacramento to see him develop a little bit more. Some are saying that they don't really see the growth from last year already. Um, the season is just about underway. We can't put too much expectation sometimes at the beginning of the season about maybe where players are. You gotta give them a little bit of a groove as the season goes in here. They re-signed Doug McDermott. They signed Dario Saric as well. He's gonna be getting some minutes there. Probably in that third rotation. Drew Eubanks is probably gonna get a good chunk of those minutes that would have gone to JV and Trey Lyles last year. So I mean, a little bit more playing time for him, and I'm familiar with him after watching the Lakers games
Yeah.
a good amount, and he was there for a little quick minute. You have Maxime Renaud, who they just picked up from Stanford, a great pick. He can shoot the three ball, and he can be a rim protector as well. So a lot of great assets that the Kings got. I think Scott Perry. I wasn't really familiar with Scott Perry's game, to be 100%. I know that he was with the Kings several years back, and then he went to New York. He's been in the league for 30 plus years. And I think what the Kings did this season is good. I just don't see if it's going to set them apart to maybe where they were last year.
They did the best they could with what they got. The Kaminga thing, because that was a whole storyline too. It was a nice thought. I didn't think the Warriors were gonna trade to they weren't gonna trade their NorCal rival Kaminga for possible revenge.
Yeah.
I just, regardless of all the smoke that there was, oh, Kaminga to the Kings, Kaminga to the Kings. That's cool. That's a great story. I
And,
don't necessarily buy into that. I do not see Warriors are too smart to
mhm.
make decisions like that.
Yeah.
With the roster we got, Malik Monk, if he can stay healthy, he still, I think, can be a top 5, 6 man, which is great. However, this team is just, who's gonna play defense besides Keegan
Yeah.
and Keon? We we got no defense
Yeah.
at all. That's not me being pessimistic. That's me being realistic with the players
Yeah.
of this Sacramento team's core roster. And because the Western Conference is just diabolical, it would be a miracle if this Kings team makes the same seed, ninth seed, as we did last year. I want to just see us compete every night. And if we can compete every night, we may have a shot of making the play in.
Yeah.
But
For
I
sure.
I think there's no way we finish the top 6, just
Yeah,
realistically.
and you keep it in the buck to kind of round off the section about the Kings here. No, those are good points, Mitch. Yeah, I don't really see them being in the top six as well because the West is loaded and it just gets better and better over time. Yeah, it's gonna be really tough to compete in the in the West.
We'll see if Carter can develop. There were spurts last year where I was like, yeah, this guy has it. And then his jump shot definitely needs to grow a little bit
Yeah,
and a little more consistent.
I'm with you on that. And what you're talking about earlier too is they gotta play defense. So another rotation that you have is Malik coming in with the second unit, running the point, Keon at the two, Nick N- Nick at the three, Isaac Jones, who they just resigned at the four, and then Drew Eubanks at the five. Let's see what the Kings do this upcoming season. Here. All right, so let's move on to the next category here, mate. All right, so next category here, we're going to talk about the East and how it's so lopsided versus the West. We're just speaking about how the West is so stacked up and the East, a lot of those injuries this upcoming season for a few of the teams. And it's something that me and Mitch wanted to talk about. I'll let you just start this one off here.
Yeah, so last year in the playoffs, we saw zeros. Whoever was repping the number 0 just have a bad luck of significant playoff injuries. Dame, who's now on the Blazers, no longer in the East. Mr. Tatum, Celtics against the Knicks, and then Halliburton. That was so sad to see Hallie go out like that, considering that game, like he made a couple threes to start that game. He was cooking. We all knew it. That reaction, how he went down, hurt. The Pacers, that's gonna take him down. And losing Miles Turner, that's gonna take him down. How he comes back, I don't know. I think the Pacers, unfortunately, aren't gonna be able to be a top 6. They'll probably be a play-in team. Celtics, so Jaylen Brown, it falls on his shoulders. We've wanted to see what's it like without playing with Tatum, Batman,
Mhm.
Robin, be
Mhm.
Batman. Go. This
Here
is
we
your
go. Here we
your
go.
chance.
Yep.
Giannis with Milwaukee, we went over that. Why would you trade him with how weak the East is when he's still a top 5 NBA player right now? You got the Miami Heat. Who the hell knows with them? And they're probably going to be Pat Riley's probably looking right now. All right, trade. How are we gonna? I think the Heat roster is gonna look a lot different start of the season than when it's trade deadline time. I think that's gonna be one of those teams. Magic, this is a huge opportunity, like you touched on it, to establish themselves. I see the Cavs and the Knicks as the 1 and the 2 seed because they're both similar rosters. They don't have the hindering injuries. Cavs finished clear number 1 last year. They got no excuse to not be number 1. And Mike Brown now as the Knicks. I can see him being number 2, but just how lopsided the East is compared to the West. Those are the top 2. But we'll put those 2 in the same category as like 1 through 7 in the West. It's like they're solid. Nuggets, Thunder, Spurs, Rockets, Wolves, Warriors. Like that's just off the dome of just
Yeah.
it's a clear lopsided difference how I see it.
It is for sure, for sure. The West is definitely a lot more loaded. If we look at 10 of the best players in the NBA, Joker, SGA, that's all West. Four out of these 10 players are in the East, but we have Giannis, right? And then we have Tatum, who has a serious injury. Let's see when he'll be able to play this season. He's moving at a pretty nice pace, but I know they don't want to overshoot things and aggravate that injury again. They definitely have to be smart. Boston has a pretty good health staff there, so they're gonna do great things. The Lakers, Luka and LeBron, that's all West, and Curry, West, and then 2 on the list, Mitchell and Brunson with the Knicks. And then as you look towards the future, right here, Mitch, the Thunder
Yeah.
and the Spurs, those guys are the ones that are going to be in it for the long haul. The Thunder, super young, they're loaded with picks. They won last season and they might go back to back. And then the Spurs with Wemby and D Fox and running gunning Dylan Harper and what those guys are doing, plus draft picks too. There is a lopsidedness between the East and the West. If Giannis goes to the West, then it's more of a even unbalanced race.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. If you're the Bucks, you're not going to trade him to the East more than it already would if you were to trade him. He didn't even mention the Mavericks or the Clippers.
Yeah,
Wi-
true that.
and
True that.
reeling out those teams in the West.
Mhm.
Mavericks, we know they're injured. They'll be fine. They'll be a top 10 team. The Clippers, this is the old guys. This is literally like their final push of Harden, Kawhi, Beal. You got Tyronn Lue coaching. I like the Clippers as a sleeper team, honestly. My fault for not even mentioning them when I read off the names, with all due respect. That's 9 compared to 2 to 4 in the East.
Yep, exactly. Good point. And that actually moves on to our next category, and where we're just talking about the California teams. We covered the Kings already, Clips, Lakers, and the Warriors. We're gonna touch on that really quick here. So let's start off with the Warriors here, Mitch. The whole JK saga. Jimmy Butler comes in at the middle of the season last season. Then this is his first year. Those guys just had a mini training camp down in San Diego with Jimmy Butler hosting it down there. A good chunk of guys ended up going for that. That's part of their rotation. They lost to the Timberwolves in last year's playoffs. It was a hard fought series in the very first game. The big thing about last season, to kind of just kick things off here with the Warriors out there in San Francisco, is Steph's health. He ended up getting hurt, and ever since he went down, that first game against Minnesota, Steph was out that game, right? The first game against Minnesota, play. He was out. They definitely didn't want to aggravate the injury, and make it even worse. But when the Dubs took game one, people were like, "Damn, they might actually win this series." But man, when you have a team that's so young with the Timberwolves, um, those guys are going to be competing for championships for the next couple of seasons here.
Yeah,
But
Anthony Edwards.
yes, Anthony Edwards, and this guy just keeps on getting better and better. It'll be interesting to see what he kind of develops this upcoming season. Speaking about this Warriors team, what are your thoughts here about the
Well,
Warriors? coming season.
We saw Jimmy Butler just fit in like a perfect glove with this Warriors team when that trade happened. They were for sure the top 3 best record in the Western Conference from that trade to the
Yeah,
playoff time.
yeah,
They were one of the best teams offensively and defensively. The West is just, I mean, like 3 games separated the 2nd seed to the
yeah,
7th seed. The Warriors ended up on the 7th seed. They play a tough Houston team. That that series, they go to 7, they end up winning, and then they play a tough Minnesota team in the Steph injury. We know what happens, but I'm not going to rule this team out with Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green defensively. I mean, and they got Jonathan Kaminga. If his head can be on straight, if he's like, all right, I'm here, team basketball. Steve Kerr, you're my mentor. Let's do this. Pajemski
yeah.
is going to elevate some more. I still see the Warriors as a top 6 team, unfortunately, but it is.
With a team that's won multiple championships, they can always get there, right? And with the talent that they have, players are getting older, Draymond, Steph, and Jimmy, Podziemski, JK, Trace. They just added Seth Curry and his brother as
Yeah,
well. That was kind of cool to see. Get
brother vibes.
brother vibes for sure. The real Splash Bros,
That's right.
as as uh as they coined it a while back. The Dubs, I think they're gonna be definitely in top 6 for sure. Into another team we're gonna now switch gears to is the Los Angeles Lakers. Luka getting traded the other season, and a lot of talk with the Lakers right now is just like how long is LeBron gonna play? A big thing that just happened in the past week is just LeBron with his second decision advertisement. People were really throwing shade at that. I thought it was gonna be a retirement announcement too. You're not a fan of that either.
No,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on, man. Let
I
it
didn't like
be.
it.
Let it be.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. Let's talk about this, Mitch. Do you think that it's gonna be his last season, or you think he's gonna have a little bit more left in the tank? He's about to turn 41 December.
I think this will be his last season with the Lakers.
Okay.
I'll go if it's his last season, it's really hard to say a definitive yes because at the end of the day, it's LeBron. He's still got his son, his other son that he would want to for LeBron, and we'll observe how his where he's at mentally, where his how he acts on the court. If he is content with, all right, this is Luca's team and I'm just here to still somehow average 20 points, 7
Okay.
rebounds, 6 assists a game, because that's really all he needs to do. He should have been averaging that at age 35 and we'd still claim him as 1, 2, 3 best players of all time when this at age 40, 41. It's just incredible. If he can still maintain those numbers and he's good with that, I can see this Lakers team doing really well as far as like Western Conference Finals type of possibility. I think this will be his last year with the Lakers if they
Okay.
don't win a chip.
Okay.
Retirement, though, it's 50-50 still right now. Let's see how this plays out.
I was thinking that it was gonna be his last year, but I mean, turning 41, we've never seen any NBA player play 23 seasons ever, and LeBron's heading into that. Big news coming out of LA is LeBron's gonna be out for like 3 to 4 weeks. And the
Yeah.
Lakers play the Kings at the end of the month, and they got the Warriors on the 5th. November is going to be a good month for home games. Minnesota, you got SGA and them coming into
Oh,
town.
man.
I'm looking to go to a good chunk of the games this season out of the 41, man. I'll probably maybe go to like at least maybe 20, maybe 25, depending on the opponent and if I'm out of town. Honestly, my pushback is I don't think he would go to any other team. I think it's just going to be the Lakers. His home. That's where he does all the business. I mean, he's got his production company that's based out in Arizona, out in your way there, Mitch. And I just don't think that he would move at this time of his career. He pull one of those old classics and say, "Hey, I'm going back to Cleveland for just that one last season," which it could happen. I'm not going to rule that out. I'm not going to rule that out at all, but I just think that he's going to retire as a Laker. I also think that he wants to end it on his time. Um, if he starts seeing himself maybe deteriorate, LeBron's not going to come off the bench ever.
Hell no.
So he wants to go out in a way that it's on his terms. I don't blame him, especially when you've been in the league for this long and what you've done and being the number one leader in points. It's going to be his last season. Not a lot of players that are going to be on the Lakers books moving forward. They only have a couple of players. I think it's like two or three.
You're right.
The
Yeah,
rest are
they got to do
1 year, two.
something this year.
Yep, 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 exactly. And the other team in the Clips that we can just quickly talk about, they just added Bradley Beal, Chris Paul as well, kind of up there for these guys. What's your expectations of this Clips team this upcoming year?
I really think this is the last dance for a lot of players on this team. And not, I mean, Kawhi, Harden, Paul, Beal. Kawhi's got a chip. He's got a couple chips, but he has a chance to be in rare company of winning multiple chips for three different teams. I don't know the list. I know that list is tiny, if there is a list even, but that'd be rare company. Harden, this is, I don't want to say, I'm gonna say fuck it, legacy. Like, bro,
Yeah, yeah.
where you are one of the best offensive players of this generation. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be you weren't good enough to even get your team to a championship. When it was fourth quarter time, crunch time, where were you? You were hiding. You weren't being aggressive. I think this is James because he's old too. He's been around the block a few times. I think this is his last year of playing at that level. We'll still see him being able to move offensively, get his creative shots. But man, time is ticking for you, James. If you want to establish yourself, it's kind of like Dirk. I put him in the same category as Dirk before Dirk had that insane playoff run. Dirk was always the one. Yeah, Dirk's great, but Harden great, but and then Dirk got that chip, and it's like Dirk. Honestly, that's one of the greatest playoff runs of all time. And Tyronn Lue, he's a great coach, phenomenal. If this team can stay healthy, I think the Clippers can have a chance to be a really good team and make it to the Western Conference Finals. That's just how talented their roster is.
As the season is about to tip off, we got a lot of exciting storylines, and you nailed that pretty nicely, man. We were just talking about NBA Finals prediction too, which is our last category. Let's go ahead and run that one down.
Yes, sir.
Before we get into our predictions, as far as the odds, what I'm looking at here, I'm looking at Fox Sports. Start off at the very top. You probably have this list too on your side there. The Thunder, Cavs, Nuggets, Knicks, Lakers, Clips, Timberwolves, and the Rockets. No huge surprises about that short list about who could win it and be in the finals for the East and the West, both ways there. What are your predictions about who's going to be in the finals in 2026?
I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets out of the Western Conference Finals. Jokic has been surrounded with weapons. He's still got an elite Aaron Gordon. He's still got Jamal Murray, who's coming into the season healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, what a concept. We love to see that. And I think this team, Adelman, we saw, a weird situation that happened with Malone leaving last season, and the Nuggets were still focused and they were still locked in. They took the champs, the Thunder, to 7 games. They did enough this year to take them over the hump. Out of the Eastern Conference, I'm going to go with the Mike Brown New York Knickerbockers.
Okay.
I think their roster is suited for a championship run this year if they can stay healthy. Again, the East, if it comes down to the Cavaliers versus Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, which I can see that happening, I'm going to choose Jalen Brunson over Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to choose Karl Anthony Towns over Mobley. They just got a better constructed roster overall. So I got Nuggets, Battle of the Ends, Nuggets versus Knicks. Even though Knicks start with a K, but yeah.
I got you. No, that's solid. That's solid, man. I didn't actually see you putting the Nuggets on that list. Going down to the wire with OKC could have gone either way. Very exciting playoffs. Going down to the wire to 7 games with those guys.
Crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, no, for sure. And the Knicks, I mean, I just giving a reaction about what I think about what you just said here. The Knicks could definitely go far for sure. They had a pretty good season last year. And the expectations for the Knicks should always be high. The ceiling should always be high, especially when you have Jalen Brunson leading the helm. We were speaking about Coach Brown. It's what I'm kind of interested to see kind of how the Knicks utilize Jalen Brunson as far as on-ball usage, right? So he's been the number one player that has the ball in his hands majority of the time. I forget what that percentage is. So how Mike Brown uh, orchestrates his offense. When we saw him with the Kings and just traditionally how he's been, he always wants to be a fast paced team. He also wants the ball to be moving quite a lot. I think they've been trying to like implement a thing there where there's the whole rule about, having the ball for like 2 seconds and then, either passing or shooting it. Really being intent with what you're doing and not letting the ball stick because that's what we see a lot with the Knicks. The ball sticks a lot. JB, he gets a lot of calls, which is a good thing about
Yeah,
him is and he gets to the line and some people don't really like that at his size, one of the smallest guards. You have to get some kind of advantages at some points. He can be a defensive liability a bit because of his size, and a lot of teams
sure.
hunt that down, right? When you come down the court, you want to hunt down the worst defender on the other team. As far as giving my predictions in the West, I have OKC Thunder coming out of the West, winning the Western Conference Finals. The East, this one was really tough. A lot of choices there. The Knicks, um, Boston Magic is in a team that we haven't even talked about too much today in the 76ers, right, Mitch?
Yeah.
I mean, we mentioned them a little bit earlier, but typically
Speaking of
no
legacy,
show.
Paul George, Embiid, where y'all at? Like, come on.
East, it's gonna be really hard, man. For me, it was between the Cavs and maybe even the Magic in there. I was kind of tossing and turning which way we could go there. This Orlando Magic team, I think, could be really good this upcoming year. But I have the Cavs. But I think the Cavs are gonna be playing the Thunder in the finals, and I think the Thunder are just gonna go back to back. That's my prediction. They'll go back to back. I look for them to be better than what they showed in that first round. I just thought that would be a series that they should win against. Yes, exactly. With the Pacers, obviously having Tyrese hurt, those guys are still going to be playing a lot of high tempo offense, led the league, and just like just the pace of what they set the NBA level to be. Rick Carlisle and that offense, they're going to be fast. They just lost Turner. All right, awesome. Well, hey, just to wrap things up, appreciate you guys listening to the very end here. Appreciate you guys listening. Make sure you guys follow Mitchell on his Instagram, Spotlight Potential underscore. One more time, Spotlight Potential underscore. I'll have it in my podcast art. So make sure you guys show love. Mitch loves to talk about hoops. He's also big into football. Or you football fans, if you guys like to bet, he's always giving odds, right? You can throw some love on there. Make sure you follow him, posting pretty consistently. And this has been a wrap for episode number 2. Appreciate you guys listening. I'll be coming out with episode number 3 in a little bit, but this is the second episode, so appreciate you guys listening to this one, season 3 here. And Mitch, yeah, appreciate you jumping on once more, man.